Hello and welcome to English Capsules. Today's capsules, analog versus digital. Get your coffee ready and let's get started.
So hello everyone, welcome again to our capsule.
This is a topic that arose during one of our conversations as mothers. That we discovered that we are an analog generation raising a digital generation, and this made us thought about how also digitalization is affecting teaching nowadays, right?
Exactly, and how we are supposed to face many of the changes that happen inside the classroom, outside the classroom, changes regarding resources and many other things related to the kind of students that we have.
And also, we have to face new challenges. So, in the past, we didn't have access to so much technology. It wasn't cheap. We didn't have, like, mobile phones were not the rule, they were the exception, honestly. And today, it's a challenge that we are facing as teachers because my teachers didn't have to deal with cell phones in the class, for example.
But not only because they were expensive, but in many cases, in the cases of cell phones particularly, they didn't exist, at least not in our towns. It wasn't common to see someone with a cell phone.
Or probably it was not so accessible because I remember my father having one of these very heavy ones, the ones that were called the brick. And it was like the regular phone that we had at home. So I wasn't paying attention to the phone. So I think that this conversation is, this part of the conversation goes to the part of the audience that is not familiar with the cavern time.
Well,
So
but
I think that our teachers didn't have to deal with this at all. And I believe that that is a big handicap nowadays because we have never had to deal with that before. So it's like a new thing. And in most cases, we are like, we don't know exactly what to do.
if we think cell phones as an enemy, in the end, our students will be our enemies also. So I think that one of the secrets is to use cell phones in the classroom as a tool to give
True.
them tasks to solve during the class with the cell phones. So they see that they are a tool, or they can be something useful during the class. Because dealing with cell phones also gives us the idea that they are not so used to using books. It's boring for them to use books. Maybe you can share material with other resources, like, okay, you can share material, it's a PDF, it has color, maybe it can have a hyperlink for redirect them to a video, or you can do many things that maybe in the past we couldn't do with physical books.
I saw recently, I saw a new version of, I think it was a first certificate book, if I'm not mistaken. And you know that normally books have like the part of practice, explanation, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of the book, you have the section of grammar that gives you further information on the topic, examples, rules, etc.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, what they did with this new version is that it's got a QR code.
Exactly.
So you are required to scan it with your phone, and there you're going to find the extra information that normally was at the back of the book, which I think is, for one, is more like catchy because you see it there and then it pops in your phone and you can manipulate it. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. I think it also has some audio background or something, so you can play with that content more. And I think that as you have it in the same page as where you're solving the activity, it can be very useful because students can consult the information while using it.
And besides, they are using something that is very common these days. We were talking before starting with the recording that QR codes are very common, very popular in many aspects. I mean, you go to a restaurant, in order to see the menu, you have a QR code. So in our everyday lives, we have QR codes. So this is like something else, and it is more catchy. I have implemented QR codes with my students, and I only teach online, so many times I share my screen, and many times they can find a QR code, and they are asked to scan it with their phones, and that takes them to another activity or another part of the activity, so they can see my presentation and see the PDF or the video, whatever it is that I have shared, and it's like they are, wow, it's a QR code, what idea. They like it.
What I have discovered in some of my classes, especially with teenagers, is that they are puzzled when you say it's okay, you can use the translator or the dictionary. Because I think that traditionally we have been taught that using those is cheating.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't believe that it's cheating. I think that you get so many benefits from using them properly because actually they are tools for learning. If you come across a word over and over and over, you have to search it up. You look for the definition or for the translation. You look for examples. You do a thorough research. If you have to do it 10 times, in the 11th, you're not going to look for it because you will remember the meaning.
And there is an extra thing that is that you can listen to the word, how it is pronounced. And this is something we could not do with a physical dictionary because
No.
in our case, we know how to read phonetic symbols, but that is not the most common thing. I mean, we know it because we are teachers of English and we know that, but most people don't. So the benefit here is that they encounter a new word, they can listen to the word, they can get to the meaning and to the examples. And all those steps are like parts of knowing a new word, of learning a new word. It's not just the meaning. You have to learn how it is pronounced, how to use it in a sentence.
Which is the precise meaning that you're looking for because dictionaries provide a variety. And I'm a big fan right now of Lingua because there we have, this is another thing that we were taught. We have corpus. Corpus are real texts in which these words were found. So maybe they cannot offer the perfect translation right now, but you can further read into these texts and you can see if any of those fit the translation or the definition that you're looking for.
Exactly. There is another one called reverso. I don't know how it is pronounced in English, and it works in the same way. So the good thing about this is that they provide real examples. So this is something extra. You learn how the word is used in real contexts, and then you choose. You choose the best version, or if the most suitable word for the thing that you need. I was going to say that we are going to leave these two links of these very useful dictionaries that we use, just in case you want to access them and investigate and do a little research to see how they work.
I was going to point out that it's also amazing how these tools have evolved. Because at the very beginning, you had Google Translation, and barely that was it. You didn't have access to so many. So these technologies have evolved. We have a wider variety. So we can choose the one that we are more comfortable with. And the other good thing is that these tools are alive. So it's not like the paper dictionary that after a few years there were some words that you wouldn't find because they were too modern for the dictionary. These dictionaries are alive. So every time that a new word is created, it pops in the translator or in the dictionary in each case.
It is as live as the language, we could say. Okay, so we were speaking of changes at the beginning, and this is how we got here with the tools that we use. We spoke about changes in the classroom, but linked to those changes, we have to mention also how we share material and homework with our students. Here, nowadays, it's very here in Argentina, I mean, it's very popular to use Google Classroom.
Here too.
And it's good because you can access to material. You can maybe the activity is just watch a video or something very simple, but in many cases, we can assign, as teachers, we can assign homework and we can grade that homework using Google Classroom as a tool.
I do use Drive a lot.
Yes.
So I like sharing material with my students, and also because I like creating, and this is something I learned from you. I like creating files in which they can find the vocabulary that we were discussing in class and this. So I think it's a very useful resource. It's not like the printed page that is fixed. In this case, you can go back, forward, you can add more, you can delete words probably.
You can save things. In the case of the documents that we share with my students, we save links, we save pictures. We work together. In many cases, I use these docs as a board, so they can see what I am giving them feedback on, and we cross out, we highlight, we make corrections, we make suggestions. So it's very useful because it gives you this opportunity of being on the same page at the same time, very simultaneously.
So it gives you the possibility of doing collaborative work. Plus, I imagine that it's more engaging in this case because it's like they are also part of whatever correction you're making or suggestion or whatever. So I think that if we have to make a summary of what we're saying is that the classes became more alive once that technology came in. I mean, I think it's a hard adjustment. And another thing is that we are speaking about private lessons mostly.
Yes, exactly.
Probably when you are in a classroom, in a school, the rules that apply are completely different, or the way in which you apply technology is completely different. So this would be a nice question for our colleagues. If you're a teacher right now, teaching in a school, public, private, whatever, or a university level, maybe you can share briefly your experience if you agree with our ideas that this has made the classes more alive, or if you are on the contrary worried about what's going on.
Exactly. Yes. So we are inviting our colleagues to participate here.
One negative aspect, because so far everything that we said, it's like good, yay. So let's make this an essay about pros and cons.
Pros and cons about.
So I think that one of the drawbacks that I have seen, especially in recent years, and probably it's not related to how we use technology in the classroom, it's more related to how technology is affecting the newer generations, is that because the phones and the internet give this immediacy factor. First of all, they find it very hard to focus. Second, they have problem to remember.
Yeah.
And third, if it's not immediate, it's boring. So this has made or has created classes that are like super high demand, because you have to be not active, is more than active what they are requiring. And it's activities that don't even last a minute sometimes, especially the younger ones. It's very hard to have them settle on something for longer than 5 minutes. It's very complicated. And it's been proved that learning from a tablet or reading things from a cell phone doesn't store in your brain in the same way as if you read all of that from a book. I don't know if you have heard, but in the northern countries, I don't remember if it was Norway or Iceland. I don't remember honestly. But they have carried a study because they had swept books and they were using tablets instead. So they made this study and they discovered that students were actually not learning because all the information that they were receiving from the tablets is stored in a short-term memory in the brain.
Okay.
So now they are switching to a hybrid system in which they are using both technology but also books because they need the analogical part of learning.
I've heard something similar to this in relation to taking notes. Apparently, the amount of muscles, or I think it is muscles, you put into work when you are taking notes in your phone is a lot less than the ones that you use when you are taking notes using a pen. It's like you are moving more parts of your body using a pen. Besides, when we were younger, people said, "Oh, if you don't remember, why don't you write it down and then you will remember?" And in fact, it sounded maybe stupid, but now you can realize that that's true. So when you take notes, maybe you remember your notes, which is
Yeah.
not the same as taking notes in your phone. I mean, written notes, handwritten notes.
Okay, and to finish our discussion, the one that has become really dangerous nowadays is
AI.
AI. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I mean, it has become really dangerous because students are using it not as a tool, like we said, they are using it as a way, as a replacement. Like instead of doing the research themselves
Exactly.
and maybe checking or adding facts using this tool, what they do is they say, okay, I need to make a report about the environment. Chat GPT, what do you suggest? And they hand in something that is not theirs, something
Yeah.
that this technology produced.
But maybe it's we have to make like a mea culpa, like in the teachers on the teacher's side, and maybe the instructions or the questions that we propose should go deeper. Like, okay, what is your opinion on this topic? What do you think on this? So it's like we are asking students something AI cannot produce. What's your opinion? Uh, they have to explain why. And then maybe a following question could be, how can you relate your opinion to the topic that we talked in class?
But the thing is that we are not there yet, I believe. This is a major change now, and we have to see how it's going to affect. So it's like, okay, we have to get used to it. Probably we teachers should spend a little time researching on this, trying to find a way to cheat it, like you were saying.
Okay, so before we go, remember to subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Give love to our content and spread the word to help our channel grow.
Also, remember that you can rate our episodes and comment on each capsule. Activate the bell so that you know when our next capsule is out. And take a look at the description and our Instagram account to take more advantage of our content.
Okay, so that's all for today. Bye for now.
Bye.